Hi,
Hi, I'm Melissa.
and I'm Eric, and we are Tilted K Homestead.
We are.
Today, Melissa is going to be taking the lead on this, but we are going to be preserving tomatoes and making salsa. What kind of salsa are we making?
We're making a zesty salsa.
We're making a zesty salsa.
The recipe comes out of the complete book of home preserving from Ball. So we've been using this book a lot. It's kind of a little bit fallen apart, and we have it tabbed everywhere. But yes, I found a recipe, zesty salsa, that we're going to use a lot of our garden ingredients. Our tomatoes, our peppers, and some of our onions today.
So we didn't get a lot out of this harvest, but we have plenty.
We do.
From past harvests.
Yes, and I did go at the beginning of the week, so that's where most of our bell peppers and our jalapenos had come from.
That's right, and these are some tomatoes that we had harvested earlier, put in airlock bags and frozen.
Yeah.
And also, we just got back last week from going down to Arkansas. Arkansas is where our homestead is. We'll leave a link up there, down there, somewhere around here, to the playlist that is us working our homestead property. We got 2 acres cleared. All the infrastructure is either in or going in at this point.
Yes.
We got fences up, we got gates up. We're down there for 2 weeks. We got a lot done, but also while we were down there, we found an Amish farm.
We did.
That sells some of their produce. So some of the tomatoes that you're going to see us process today came from the Amish.
Yeah, they did.
So we put them on ice, brought them home with us, and then froze them right away.
Yeah, until we could.
Until this week when we can can them. So that's what you're going to see.
So today we're going to start out with making the zesty salsa. So one of the first things that we need to do is we need to open up our bag.
We're keeping the juice?
I think we're going to keep the juice just in case we need some of the juice when we're canning to pack the jars, just in case.
Oh, that smells so good.
We're not really using the juice for our salsa. We're using it later on for when we do our diced tomatoes.
That's right. So basically we're going to peel and skin these until we get enough for the salsa.
So these are defrosted, and I know that Eric read that after you freeze and defrost the tomatoes, the peels come right off.
Now normally I guess you would soak the tomato in a hot water bath and then a cold water bath to achieve the same goal, but because we froze them, I guess we're going to be able to just do it this way. I'm going to bring this bowl forward so I don't drip everywhere.
No, I'm going to move my book so it doesn't get all full of tomato juice.
And I'm going to peel one of these.
That's one of the first things that we need to do. So we're going to go through these tomatoes, and we're going to find the ones that are actually defrosted, because some of them still are frozen. And we are going to pull off all the skins. And then once we get these all pulled off, and we get 10 cups pretty much of tomatoes, we have to make sure that they are all chopped up into like little pieces. Not too little, but we're talking salsa. It says chopped.
Okay. So probably 1/4 inch cube.
Like dice.
Okay.
Alright, so I have my tomatoes here. Let me show you how easy the skins do come off of these tomatoes after they've been frozen. They just peel right off. Alright. And then it is all set to go into the bowl. So once I get a bunch of those then we're going to chop them up so that we can come up with our 10 cups of tomatoes that we need for the salsa.
Okay, so we got
Yep.
all our tomatoes chopped up.
Yep. And I didn't mention earlier, but I had already pre-cored them before I froze them in freezer bags.
And what kind of tomatoes are those?
And the tomatoes are a mixture of Roma and Early Girls and slicing tomatoes.
Cool.
So that's what we're using for the salsa.
So what else do we have on the table here?
Okay, we have green bell peppers.
Are those store-bought or from our garden?
No, these are from our garden.
Oh, awesome.
Okay.
What are these over
We
here?
have jalapeno peppers. Those are also from our garden.
We froze these, right?
We did freeze
Okay.
those too. We have some garlic that we had to buy from the store. We weren't able to grow garlic this year. The cilantro that I have in this baggie right here, this bee obviously likes the way I smell, but the cilantro we actually picked out of our garden, dried it, and this is what we're going to be using in our recipe today. We also have some onions. Now these are not onions from our garden. We do have onions from our garden, but they're still kind of...
Well, they're still curing.
Yeah,
aren't they?
there they are. They're still curing, so these we had to get from the store. So what we're going to do next is we're going to start cutting up our peppers, our onions, and basically once you do all the ingredients, it just goes into one pot.
That's right. And we have
So
that
it's-
pot right over here.
So it's super simple. But we do need to cut and seed our peppers and the jalapenos too. So we're going to get going on that and get everything into our pot so that we can get it going to a boil.
Okay, I'm going to help Missy out. I'm going to cut up some tomatoes. All I'm going to do is cut the top off. Come in here. I'm going to take the seed pod out. Putting it in our scrap pot here. And then what I do, usually, is I just take it like this and cut it into small strips. And then cross cut it, and it usually ends up diced to roughly the right size. Okay, so what do we have here for ingredients?
Okay, so we have 10 cups of cored, diced, peeled tomatoes.
Okay.
Alright, we have 5 cups of seeded and chopped green pepper. We have 5 cups of onion. We have approximately a cup and a quarter of jalapenos. Now the recipe does call for 2.5 cups, but we're gonna just go with this right now because this is what we have. And we're not really into spicy salsa. We don't mind it being a little zesty, but
Well,
we're gonna go with that.
and if we want it spicy, we can add a little hot sauce to it
We
later
can,
on.
we can.
But once the jalapenos in
Yes.
it, it's in it.
Okay.
So what else do we
Then-
have?
We have our garlic, so 3 cloves of chopped up garlic. Then we have 2 tablespoons of cilantro. And when this all goes into the pot, we're also going to be adding a tablespoon of salt and, let's see, 1 1/4 cups of cider vinegar.
And then what happens once?
So once we get that all into the pot, we're going to bring that up to a boil for about 10 minutes. And then we'll be putting it into our hot jars. We have our
Yep.
canner going back here, so we need to get our jars in there. But there's plenty of time for that.
So I'm gonna go behind the camera so we can get a good shot of this all going together.
Yep.
And Missy's going to take over putting everything in the pot and getting it all set. So
Okay.
be right back.
Alright, so now I'm going to put in the tomatoes. Again, that's 5 cups of tomatoes. I'm going to put in my green bell peppers. Alright, then next we're putting in our jalapeno peppers. My onions. And next I have my garlic. My cilantro. And for the salt, it's 1 tablespoon. So we're going to put in 1 tablespoon of salt. Okay, so this is a cup and a quarter. Okay, there we go. And now this is going to get covered and it's going to be put on the heat so it can boil for approximately 10 minutes. Alright, so I have my pot over here with all the ingredients on the stove. Now, it says to bring it up to a boil in the book, the recipe that I'm following from the ball book. And then when it gets to a boil, I need to reduce the heat so it's a gentle boil and let it gentle boil for about 10 minutes. And during those 10 minutes, it will actually start to thicken. So why don't you come over here and take a look and see what it looks like right now. It hasn't quite come to a boil yet, and that's what we're waiting for. When it gets to a boil, I'll start my timer for 10 minutes and still continue to stir it so that it doesn't stick at all. I also, in the meantime, while I've been waiting for it to boil, I've gotten my jars into my canner pot, so those will be hot and ready when the salsa is ready to put into the jars. Alright guys, that is the timer. I am going to turn off the heat, and if you come over here and look, you can see that how much it actually thickened. The juice that was in here actually looks more like tomato juice now.
I'm sure it'll thicken as it stores too.
Oh yeah, definitely. So what we're going to do now is we are going to reposition you guys, and we're going to set the pot up over here so that Eric can come and help me get the salsa into the jars.
Okay, I get to be on this side of the camera again.
Alright.
So, what do I do? Grab a...
Yep, Eric's going to get the hot jars out of there so that we can start filling them up, and he's going to help with cleaning off the rims, making sure the air bubbles are out.
Okay, there's your first jar.
Okay. Let's get this filled up here. Alright, and as you're filling this, keep in mind that there is a learning curve here. The jar needs to have at least a ½ inch of headspace. Well, it looks pretty good. So,
okay, so I'm going to take this.
Yeah, really hot.
I'm going to switch out with you.
Alright. Don't forget those air bubbles.
Yeah. That looks good. Gonna wipe off the rim. Take a lid, fresh new lid, put it on. Take a ring. And then I'm just going to put it over here.
Now again, this is the Zesty Salsa from the Ball book, Home Preserving, and it makes about 6 pints, according to what the book says.
Okay, we have got about 45 seconds left
Yep.
on the second batch of 2. This is the first batch of 6.
Yes.
They look amazing.
Yeah, they do.
So,
And this is our half pint that we're just gonna stick in the fridge.
yeah, as soon as that cools down, we'll put it in the fridge and we'll
Yeah.
use it up pretty quick.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what was left over, but we ended up getting 8.5 pints.
Which
So
is
that's-
nice.
Yeah, that's not
yeah.
bad.
No.
All right, so
Oh,
that is the
there's
timer.
our timer.
So let's take out the last 2 jars. Now, this again is the Zesty Salsa.
Zesty jalapeno salsa.
No, well, it's called Zesty Salsa
Okay, but it's got jalapenos in it.
with jalapenos. And again, we got this recipe from the All Complete Book of Home Preserving. As I said before, this is one of the books that we've been using for quite a while now. So we have it all tabbed out, all the recipes that we've made and that we want to try. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, this is the first time that we have made salsa.
Yes, it is.
So this is an experiment for us as well, but everything looked like it came out fine.
Yeah, and everything that we've made from this book has come out good.
It's tasted amazing.
One of my favorite things that I've made from this book has definitely been the apple pie filling.
Yes.
The apple pie filling was yum.
The pickled beets
So-
were pretty good too.
Yes.
So, and we're going to be making some corn relish, some pickled beets.
Mhm.
We're going to be doing a lot more of that, but now that this is done, we're going to put this to the side, let it continue to cool,
Yeah.
and we got all of our tomatoes
Yes.
peeled.
While this was processing,
That's right, we did that, so we're going to get those over here, we're going to get them diced up and cut up, and we're going to raw pack those into our jars, and then we're going to get them processed, so let's
yes.
get ready to do that.
And because we're only doing water bath canning, the processing time on those jars, they're quart-sized jars that we'll be using, is 85 minutes. So it does take a little bit longer, but we're not really that comfortable using our pressure canner yet.
Well, it's not that we're not comfortable
We
using
haven't
it.
really
We
read-
haven't used it at all.
Yeah,
we
we
bought
haven't-
a pressure cooker and we haven't used
Yeah.
it yet. And we're not on a stove.
Yeah.
We're out here doing this on our deck at our camper.
Yes.
So I just thought we'd
Yeah.
wait until we get to the cottage.
Yeah, we haven't really read all the directions that go along with the pressure canner.
Yeah.
So we just decided to do the water bath.
Yeah, I'm not scared to use it. I just
No.
want to be in the right environment to use it for the first few times.
Yes.
But again, once again, guys, we did this on the side burner of our grill
Yes.
and on a little camp stove you saw over there, and that's how we're gonna water bath
Yeah.
these the same way. So if you want to do canning, you don't need a big elaborate kitchen
No.
with all kinds of expensive equipment.
Yeah, we're definitely not experts either.
No, get a book, get
We
a canning
follow
book.
this book and follow the recipe.
Get yourself some jars, get yourself a big canner
Mm-hmm.
pot, and that's pretty much it. Follow the instructions, you should be good to go. You don't need a lot of fancy equipment. So we're going to get this
Alright.
cleaned up, and we're going to get on to diced tomatoes.
All right.
Okay, so
All right.
we're
We
set
are
up.
back.
We're set up for tomatoes. So, one warning: these tomatoes, when they're frozen and thawed, they get a little more like stewed tomatoes, but that's okay. For cooking later on, they will be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But we're just gonna cut them up, get them all kind of diced up, and get them in the jars. And we'll show you what that looks like when we get it all jarred up.
Alright, so this is the last of our tomatoes. And this process is very messy. So far we've gotten 4 quart jars. We should end up with 5. Alright, so we have ended up with 4 quart and a pint of diced, probably more stewed tomatoes, because they were pre-frozen. When we defrosted them, they got a little mushier than we thought they would. But one of the last steps that you need to do, and I've already done these 3 jars, is the pint gets 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, and the quart gets 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. So I'm just going to finish adding that in. Oh, and that shot right into the other jar. Alright. So there's 2 tablespoons. We'll go a little easier on this one. And there we go. 2 tablespoons of lemon juice.
Wipe the lid. Wiping the lid.
To make sure that we get a good seal. Lid. Ring. And then finger tight. Okay. Next jar. Wipe the rim. Clean lids. Ring. Finger tight. Alright. These jars need to process for 85 minutes again. And that's because we're doing water bath canning.
And it's a raw pack.
It's a raw pack, too.
If
they
we
have
were
not been cooked.
Yeah, if they were cooked like a
stewed
tomato, then our process time would be shorter.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're going to get these into the canner. Our water is boiling. So, alright. Let's get these in there. And no. I thought we could make it work, but it does not fit. So we'll have to process that by itself.
Okay.
Alright, so we need to wait for this to come back up to a boil. And then after it starts boiling, we will process it for 85 minutes again, and then we'll come back and show you what they look like. Alright?
So, it's dark out.
And raining right now.
And raining, if you can hear it, and we have you on night vision. So, finally, our tomatoes are done.
They are.
We're going to pop them out.
And I don't know if you're going to be able to see them as well, but at least they're done.
Oh, they look right. Enjoying our videos? Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button and hit that bell. It'll let you know every time we got a video coming out.
Yeah, and if you're enjoying our channel, please share it with all of your friends and family. Alright guys, have a good one.
Bye.
Bye guys.